Welcome to the Linehaul Playbook. I'm your host, Emily Blair. Joining me in my virtual studio today is Scotty Sun with Lonestar Truck Group. Scotty, thank you so much for coming in to talk with me.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
I asked you to come in today to talk about some potential changes that we're hearing about for the CARB regulations. Can you tell me what's happening?
Yes, so there are several different CARB rulings and CARB mandates, and one of the rulings is the omnibus mandates that several California and several other opt-in states have set standards to start in 2025. And as of yesterday, they have started rolling back or delaying the enactment of these laws and rules due to zero emissions vehicles not being able to be sold in the state or have enough to support the infrastructure that current ICE or internal combustion engines currently hold in each state that has opted in for these regulations.
So, one example that we talked about a little bit was Massachusetts. For dealerships, there was a requirement that they had to sell a certain number of EV vehicles. Was that correct?
That's correct. Under the omnibus rule, the OEM manufacturers that manufactured more than 500 trucks or vehicles a year were going to be required to sell a zero emissions vehicle or battery operated vehicle into each state, and that would give them a credit to also sell 13 ICE engines vehicles. So basically, they have to sell one ZEV vehicle to be able to sell 13 internal combustion engines per unit. And they started this several years ago. They started doing the accreditation last year, hoping they would have sales to give enough credits to allow the internal combustion engines to be brought into the state. And that has not come to fruition. The municipalities in Massachusetts were saying, hey, we can't get enough trucks to support our infrastructure. We can't get enough tractors to haul the snow plows and snowplow vehicles to operate. So they have enacted a delay. Instead of in 2025, they're going to move to 26 or 27, and other states are going to follow out to 29 due to these issues of not having enough ZEV vehicles available.
Okay, thank you for clarifying. And Scotty, I'm going to ask you to speculate a little bit. So this is purely your opinion. But in your opinion, do you think these changes that we're hearing kind of rumblings about, do you think it's going to change anything about the way the OEMs are manufacturing the engines?
No, I mean there's still strict emissions, NOx emissions regulations that are in place to further the lower emission requirements, to the stricter requirements that are needed to meet. Those are still in place. The omnibus is strictly to entice consumers and to buy a zero emissions vehicle, and they were requiring certain percentages per year as we go along to 2035. But as the infrastructure for the support of the vehicles and the availability of the vehicles has not come to fruition as they had planned, they are being forced to back up on the ZEV, but the strict CARB emissions are still in place.
Okay, so I think the soundbite that I heard was someone in government saying we're going to roll back emission standards to 2020 levels. Would that really be any change significantly from what we have today?
A little. You just have tighter regulations on the emissions of the vehicles. But the reality is that your OEMs have already been investing billions of dollars to meet the future regulations and emission standards. So they're preparing to release these engines and these products. So that is still moving forward, but it's mainly the omnibus that's backing up and delaying that side of the plan for lower emissions.
Awesome. Thank you so much for taking time to clarify for us today, Scotty. Really appreciate your time.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be here. I appreciate it.